Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we are going to be building a FortNite gaming PC for my nephew Braden. I recently upgraded my son's computer, and some of the parts we took out are going to go to him, and they're perfectly capable of being able to play FortNite, and we're going to get into it, so stick around. So yes, this is my nephew Braden's computer. It's an older computer. I believe it's an old AMD FM2 socket with DDR2. There's only 2 slots for the RAM, which when I open it I'll show you. It's an older case. It says Sidewinder going down the side of it, but it can be cleaned up some. We're gonna still use it. He does have a DVD drive and a card reader in there we're going to keep, and I'm going to go through and clean out some of these other ports and see what can be done with it still. But I think there used to be some kind of cover that went over here, but these little tabs are broken. But nonetheless, this is the board that's going to go into the computer. This has an i5-2400 on it. And right now it's got 2 sticks of 4 gigabytes apiece DDR3 for 8 gigs total. And then I plan on putting a PowerColor HD 7870, which should be fine for FortNite. It shouldn't give him any issues. This is a nice Intel board. It's not really flashy like a gaming board or anything, but let me see if I can get the focus. After I clean it, it should be stable. It should work for what he needs it to work for, and we should end up with a decent little machine. My plan is to hopefully utilize some of the pieces that are already in the case, like the power supply and maybe the hard drive and whatever else can still be used. So I'm going to go ahead and take the side cover off and see what we're getting into. Alright, so we got the side panel off, and this thing is actually pretty filthy. It belonged to a 10-year-old, so it's not like they know how to clean up a lot of stuff. I'm all up in the light. Let me pull back some. It's kind of funny how I do recognize some of the hardware in here at this point. If I'm not mistaken, about 6 years ago, Jeremy's neighbor had a kid that was in his backyard. Or not backyard, on the side of the house when we pulled up from work, and offered one of us a computer for 20 bucks. I didn't have 20 cash on me, but Jeremy did. We took a look at it, and I told Jeremy we could turn it into a little server for movies in his house, so he gave the kid 20 bucks. And this is actually an old 4650 Radeon card that was in one of my old computers. I remember putting that in there for him, so he had HDMI out on it. It's weird to see new hardware. This is actually a little cheap Logis power supply. I'm kind of sketched out on that. I'm gonna have to see if that's gonna be able to hold the graphics card I plan on putting in here, but if not, we'll do what we have to. So the first thing I'm going to do right now is go ahead and get this old hardware out of the case, clean the inside of the case out, and before I put the new hardware into the case, I'm going to set all the new hardware up and make sure it works. I'm not sure what size hard drive that is, but it is a SATA hard drive, so that'll work out pretty well. So yeah, we're gonna start getting to it, and I will check back in with you. Well, here's all the parts that were inside of it. And I'm surprised this thing even worked, because if you look, the thermal grease is like crusty. There's no way that was transferring heat correctly. So, let's see if I can focus. It's a Athlon 64X2. I'm not exactly sure which processor that is, but I'll try to figure it out. And the motherboard itself was a NF61, can't tell if that's a 5 or a S, micro AM2, so I was right about the AM2 part. And there were 2 gigs of DDR2 RAM in it. 1 gig sticks a piece, a 250 gig Western Digital old SATA hard drive, and of course we already talked about the graphics card, which this thing's like ancient now. I think I bought this back in like 2009, 2010. So yeah, I might make another video on seeing if these parts work. These could possibly be reused in another system for something, so I'll put these with the other system parts, and I'm gonna get to cleaning the case. Alright, well, I've been trying to do a test fit of the motherboard and processor on my bench here, and I got the power supply hooked up with this Dell monitor. Well, I've been running into some issues. Whenever I jump it to turn it on, oh, I got the, alright, let's try this again. Jump it to turn it on, everything comes on, but I'm not getting anything. I did take the time to put another motherboard up here, the one that actually came out. I put it under here. The other computer, the AMD one. Anyway, and the graphics card works and everything works. So it dawned on me that Angel, my son, was complaining about having some instability when this was in his computer anyway. So what I believe I'm going to do is we're going to cut this part here. I've got the case, I still got some more I got to clean out down here. I'm going to get that cleaned up, and then I'm going to get my bucket full of motherboards and processors and see if we can't find something else that's more stable. I believe I have another motherboard with the same processor in it, i5-2400, and get something that I know is going to be stable, because if I'm going to be building a little FortNite gaming PC for an 11-year-old, I want to make sure that there's the least amount of problems as possible. So, and also as an update for the Z200 workstation down here, I just recently got a Xeon 4-core 8-thread processor that should fit in there, so that we can start the NAS/server very soon. So stay tuned for that. That was the i3 version, so we're going to take that i3 out of there and do some stuff for that. And I found the graphics card for Chris's computer as well. So we got a lot of content coming up soon. I'm going to come back with part 2 with the FortNite build. Probably start filming that after I cut this and go ahead and edit it, and we'll be back. If you made it this far, please consider subscribing. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm going to start trying to get more content out, and computer builds, technology, everything, and hopefully this will end up working out and we'll have a working gaming computer soon. We'll see you in part 2. Have a good one.